I'm happy with the edges now. I'm going to apply the scrim, which is the fiberglass webbing that's a bit sticky. And then I can stick my first run. I'm going to start gluing now, and I'm using an epoxy resin which is thixotropic, and that means it's not runny. It's a bit like set honey, and normally epoxy resin is like runny honey. So it's a two-part adhesive, and if you can see here, it's twice 2 times this to 1 times this. This is the activator, and it comes in a tin with a lot of room so that you could put all of that into there, mix it up, and your part would be right. I'm not going to mix it all in one go because the fumes would be appalling, and also it's easier to be sure you've got it mixed properly if you do it in smaller amounts. I'm all gloved up and I've got my overalls on because I'm very, very sensitive to this glue, and I get a very bad reaction to it, so it's worth taking precautions. You measure by volume, it's not done by weight, and I'm going to do it in spoonfuls. So I'll take it's going to be quite slow, but I want to get it accurate. Now I mix on a tile. I'll put it here so hopefully you can see. So that's 1 spoon. Two spoons. And now I'm going to put a little bit of pigment in. This is a white powdered pigment, and actually a little goes a long way. I could get it to fall off the end. There, that should do it. I could add more if I wanted to. And this is how I mix. I mix on a tile because you get a nice big surface area. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully you can. And you want to mix and mix and mix. And if this doesn't look white enough, I can add a bit more of that pigment. And I don't think it is looking white enough. I did a trial run of this adhesive and pigment, but of course I only mixed up a very small amount because it was a trial. But it also gave me an indication of whether or not I'd bought enough glue, because it's expensive. This cost £70. So if I'd had to buy some more, it would have really put the cost up. This is 1 litre. You can buy it in smaller quantities, but actually delivery, because it's a toxic kind of, it is very toxic product, it costs a lot. Carriage is about £8. So I used to use this adhesive when I was working with marble and granite, which is what I did a long time ago. And I used to make mosaics and borders very much the same kind of way I've done this border here. So although it's been about 30 years, I'm very accustomed to this technique. Now if you don't mix it properly, you'll get areas of weakness. So it's worth taking your time. And I'll put links up of what this product's called and where I bought it. They're a very helpful company called Property System Repairs or something. It's a bit of a weird name, I can never remember it. Anyway, I'll put a link. They're very helpful. Now, I did a trial run, and in my trial run I applied enough adhesive that it would squash down between the tiles, and I've decided I don't want to do that. I only want to apply enough adhesive so that it attaches to the scrim and the back of the pieces. So it's all about the angle of your scraper and not having too much adhesive on, but enough that it will press through the scrim but you don't want too much on so that it pushes down through. You don't want it to appear on the front. It looks a little bit ugly. I probably won't avoid it entirely happening, but if it does happen in a few places, I can just remove the adhesive. If I work on it tomorrow, it will be set. It's set in 24 hours. This is a slow set. You can get rapid set, but I wanted a long working time. And it goes off totally in 5 days, 5 to 7 days, depending on the temperature. Above 20 degrees, it goes off quicker. So before it's gone completely rock solid, I can work on it with a little Dremel tool to just remove any bits that are showing through. So that's what I will do if need be. So that's done now, and it took 8, 10, 8, no, 10, 12, 10, 8, so 30 spoonfuls. I've got a bit left over, which I will put on one of the other runs, but I'm only going to do this one today because although I did do a test piece, sometimes when you scale things up they're different. So I will come back to this one tomorrow and see, hopefully when I turn it over, that it's the way I want it. I'm going to clean up my bits and bobs now, because if I clean them properly then I can reuse them. If I don't, I might have to throw them away. You can get epoxy resin off things with a heat gun. So if this got all gunged up, I could clean it with a heat gun. But the tile would obviously crack if I tried to clean it with a heat gun. And obviously if I had lots of tiles I wouldn't need to bother doing this. But it doesn't take long to clean it up. Come back tomorrow. The reason I'm wearing overalls, actually let's just clean my hands, is because the last time I worked with epoxy resin, it was the liquid kind, not the thick stuff. I got a speck of it on the knee of my jeans, just a speck, and my knee swelled up for about a month. So hopefully with a double layer I'll be alright. So I don't even touch my gloves with my bare hands because obviously they'll have epoxy on them, and until it's gone off I am super highly allergic. So yeah, it's not nice stuff. Some of the glue has pushed through and over the tiles on the front surface, so I am having to take it off with a little tool called a rotary tool, but often called a Dremel, and I've put a little 6mm grinding wheel in the top, and I'm going to go along the grout joints just to remove the excess glue. It's not very satisfactory, would have been better if it hadn't come through, but such is life. Anyway, I've done most of this, so I've just got a little bit more to do now. So you can watch me do it. Can you see that? Yeah. Oh. I need my mask. It's it throws up some very unpleasant toxic dust. Resin is not good for your lungs. So mask on, headphones in, long and boring job.